Hello everyone, back tuning in to today's first video. We are doing the August 2018 month-ahead forecast for today's first video. So we're going to have a look at the CFS V2, the Beijing Climate Center, and the ECMWF seasonal model to see what the temperature, precipitation, and pressure anomalies are showing for August. We'll have a review of July's forecast at the end of the video, have a little sneak peek for September. So just say that today's second video will be coming up this afternoon, and that's going to have a detailed look at the weather for the next week to 10 days. Hot weather is on the way, and also with it the chance of some maybe quite severe thunderstorms as well next week. So I'll talk you through everything that's going on in terms of the week to 10 day time frame for today's second video update. But starting us off is the month-ahead forecast. So let's have a review of July. So the July forecast was for a significantly hotter than average month. What we said is that we thought we was likely to get only our second 18 Celsius plus Central England temperature of the decade. We only have one in July 2013. With July 2018. We also said that it'd be very dry, but drought would intensify. Any rainfall that did occur would probably be primarily from hit and miss thunderstorms due to the strength of the blocking area of high pressure. So a very dry and hot month was forecast for the July month-ahead forecast. Let's very quickly have a Central England temperature went. So we've dealt with this in the video yesterday. So the CET actually came out at 19.1, which is an anomaly of over 3 degrees above average. And again, that was a correct prediction from Gazovis, because that is only the second time this decade but we have had a plus 18 Celsius central temperature, so that one did work out quite well. This is the temperature anomaly for the UK. We have got the anomaly maps in now for the UK from UK Met Office. So this is how July's mean temperature looks when it's set against the 61 to 1990 average. See, all parts of the country had a very warm or hot month. So the lowest anomalies to average was sort of Western Scotland, Northern Ireland and the north of Wales, where we have an anomaly of around 1.5 to 2.5 degrees above average. The bulk of Scotland, most of Northern England, most of Wales, most of Southwest England comes out with an anomaly of around 2.5 degrees above average. Remember, this set against 61 to 1990. The hottest anomaly to average is sort of through the Midlands into central, southern, southeastern England. There we are over 3 degrees above average with our anomaly for July 2018. So a very hot month was experienced indeed. And set against 81 2010, it's a very similar story. Northern Ireland comes out with a temperature anomaly not quite as high, set against 81 2010. Remember, 61 to 990 is an old and cold temperature average. It incorporates the very cold decade of the 1960s, where most of the winters were very cold and most of the summers were pretty dismal as well. So the 81 to 2010 average is a warmer temperature series because it encompasses all of the warming that's taking place in the final sort of couple of decades of the 20th century and into the warm decade of 2000 to 2010. So set against 81 2010, the anomalies aren't quite as dramatic, but even so, a very warm month was experienced. Northern Ireland comes out with an anomaly of around 0.5 degree to 1 degree above average. Elsewhere, we're over 1 degree above average. Scotland, Northern England, Wales, Southwest England, those hottest areas through the Midlands into Southeast, there we're over 2 degrees above average, set against 81 to 2010. So it was a very hot month indeed. As far as rainfall is concerned, where we do see a lot of regional variation, but overall was a very dry month for England and Wales in particular. Some places through the Midlands into southeast England coming out with sort of less than 20% of their average. Was closer to average with precipitation for some parts of central southwest Scotland, and actually Northern Ireland, very surprisingly, comes out ever so slightly above average with rainfall, at least specific areas of Northern Ireland. And I think that is primarily down to just one very wet day that occurred, I think it was on Saturday, right at the end of the month. We had a very, very wet day across Northern Ireland, and so that was actually enough in one day to get the precipitation anomaly up to or even over average for some specific areas of Northern Ireland. However, generally it was a dry month, particularly for England and Wales, very dry. You see, we did have a bit of regional variation. That's where the thunderstorms occur, where these white areas are, where we go to average precipitation. But otherwise, we see it was a pretty dry month indeed. That's 61 to 90. Same story for 81 to 2010. So I think overall, the GavsWeatherVids.com July forecast was pretty good. I think it was quite a bold forecast, actually. We don't normally go for very hot, very dry months. They're quite unusual to get those in the UK. So we did pick that out, and I think it came out quite well. So really quite pleased with the July forecast. Just the last couple of days did go a little bit off trend as it turned more unsettled. We had that slightly more unsettled and cooler end to the month. Otherwise, the temperature anomalies and precipitation anomalies would have been even more dramatically hot and dry if it hadn't been for the last 2 or 3 days a month. But I think overall the July forecast went okay. Right, so let's have a look at August then. We're going to start off with 700 millibar height anomaly from the CFS V2 for August 2018. This hasn't updated for a few days, annoyingly, so this is what it was showing a few days ago. A big area of above average heights just to the east of the country, so high pressure continues really, and we carry on bringing in those warm to hot east to southeasterly winds. So CFS definitely wants to extend the hot weather, the hot summer into August. Says the temperature anomaly that CFS is forecasting for August 2018, going for a hot month across most parts of Europe, the UK, and Ireland is included in that as well. So the long hot summer goes on with CFS V2, temperatures well above average. Many central parts of Europe also coming out hotter than average. Scandinavia is also hotter than average as well. France, hotter than average. These southern parts of Europe are closer to average. So the pattern that we've had since May, a little bit cooler than average, you'll notice down to very far southeast of Europe. The pattern we've had since May continues through August if the CFS V2 is right. That means precipitation-wise, it's also coming out with a drier than average month. The UK is coming out drier than average. Most of Central Northern Europe is coming out drier than average. Wetter than average conditions can be seen down in the Mediterranean. This is just a continuation of the pattern we've had all the way through the summer since May, with Northern and Western and Central Europe getting the ridge, so getting the hot and dry weather. Southern Europe getting not low pressure, but pressure is weaker across southern Europe, and so that means the temperature anomaly isn't as hot, and we do have a risk of more in way of heavy showers and thunderstorms breaking out. So the CFS wants to carry on the pattern of the summer through to August. That's how the Beijing Climate Center is looking. These are 500 millibar heights broken down into 30-day period. I'm not going to break this down into 10-day periods today. So this is the 500 millibar height anomaly essentially for the month of August 2018, with an area of above average height centred over top of the country and also going out to the east as well, with bringing in those very warm to hot east to southeast winds again. Both these models are in agreement then for what's going to happen. Temperature anomalies are coming out hotter than average, with the Beijing Climate Center significantly above average at around 2 or 3 degrees above average. So the long hot summer goes on with both CFS V2 and with the Beijing Climate Center as well. Precipitation wise, it's looking like this, coming out drier than average for the UK, coming out drier than average for most of Central and Northern Europe as well. So those two models want to carry on the long hot summer right way through August, through the final month of the summer. This is the ECMWF. Just thought I'd start including this into the month-ahead forecast, see how it performs compared to the CFS of the Beijing Climate Center. So this is the mean sea level pressure anomaly from the ECMWF seasonal model. This is from website weather.us. You'll see that it does have above average heights very close to the country, but it is centering them a little bit to the north of the country. So to our south, pressure is weaker across much of continental Europe. Not necessarily low pressure, but it has got weaker pressure across much of continental Europe. And that weaker pressure is extending, particularly into southern parts of the UK. The temperature anomaly for August is coming out like that, the ECMWF. So it is seeing another warmer than average month. Yes, temperature anomalies are hotter than average. The scale suggests that we're between, let's say, 1 and 2 degrees above average, around there. So it is going for a substantially warmer than average month. If I compare you to July, though, how it was forecasting July's temperature anomaly. For July, it was actually going up to kind of like over 5 degrees above average at the hottest across parts of the UK. Remember, this is for Fahrenheit. It's an American website, so it's not quite as dramatic as it looks like. It's not going for 5 degrees Celsius above average. It's going for sort of 5 degrees Fahrenheit above average. But anyway, it was going for a hotter month in July than the month it's forecasting for August. So it is seeing that the extreme temperatures do back off a little bit when we get through to August compared to the extreme heat we had in July. And also, interestingly, it's going for a rather wetter month as well, especially focused on England and Wales, with actually above average rainfall. To the north and the west, the ECMWF is suggesting that we get drier than average conditions. So the CFS and Beijing Climate Center, they essentially want to keep the summer pattern going throughout August, and if that came off, it would seal the deal on possibly the hottest summer on record. They would be very hot, very dry. It would be very hot, very dry August. The ECMWF is a little bit different. It's the reason I wanted to include it in the month-ahead forecast, just to compare when we come to next month's update and see which model came out right with this. The ECM suggests that, yes, it will be a warmer than average month. On average, we'll still have high pressure quite close to us, but it'll be centred a little bit more to the north than it has been, which allows more room away of weaker pressure to develop from the south, and potentially brings us, I would have thought a lot of that above average rainfall is coming out from thunderstorms, brings us heavy showers, thunderstorms, more widespread than we had through particularly July, but also through to June as well. So a rather more unsettled August, although we're not talking about anything too dramatic. Temperature anomaly is still above average. Overall high pressure is still quite close to us. Just an increase in shower and thunderstorm activity. So what's the Gaz weather leads forecast? Well, I've got a feeling I'm going to have to really guess on this, because we've got the strong signal from the Beijing Climate Center from the CFS V2, but I've got a feeling they're probably going a bit over the top with that high pressure signal, wanting to keep this pattern going through the whole of the month, if you like. So I think they've got themselves a little bit stuck in a rut. They can't see a way out of this pattern that we've been in through the summer. And I think broadly the pattern will hold, but I think it'll just be a little bit weaker, as the ECMWF suggests it could be. So I think we will have another warmer than average month. I think temperatures will be hotter than average, but I don't think it'll be as hot as it was in July. I don't think we'll get another 19 Celsius CET month. We may just about scrape an 18 Celsius CET month, but I think it'll be quite difficult to do that. I would suggest the temperature anomaly is likely to be somewhere in the 17s, so somewhere with the CET between 17.0 and 17.9, in that sort of range. And that will mean that we just come out under the hottest summer on record, which was 1976, so we don't get that record if this prediction is right. 1976 will remain the hottest summer on record. So a warmer than average month, yes, but not as hot, not as extreme with the heat as it was in in July, although in the next few days we may get some very high temperatures, but I think that will be offset through the month by cooler days, more showery days as well. As far as precipitation is concerned, that's very difficult. I suspect we will have a lot of regional variation, so some areas are still likely to come out with another drier than average month, but other areas might have quite a wet month actually if they get a lot of thunderstorms over a few days through this month, and I think that is possible that could happen. Then some places could actually come out with quite a wet month, so a lot of regional variation in terms of precipitation. Overall, not as dry as it has been. I think that's the main message, main takeaway from the August forecast. It shouldn't be as hot as it has been. It shouldn't be as dry as it has been. So we aren't going back to typical unsettled summer conditions, but neither are we going to keep a continuation of the very extreme weather that we've had through particularly July, the very hot, very dry conditions. So it's a difficult forecast because it's a fine judgment between being very hot and dry and just backing off that very hot and dry weather, but not going too over top with the cooler and wetter stuff. So it is a fine judgment. That's as best as I can do. Expect a warmer than average month, yes, but not as hot as it has been on average overall through the month, and also expect not as dry as it has been, although with a lot of regional variation. Right, just have a very quick sneak peek at September, and this is what CFS V2 700 millibar high anomaly is showing for September, and it just goes on. CFS with this area of above average height centred over and to the east of the country. It will continue to bring those winds in from the east, so we continue to get a lot of very warm and dry weather through the course of September. September can often be a month that is very dry and warm, but I do wonder whether, particularly the CFS, but maybe the Beijing Climate Center too, just got themselves stuck in a bit of a rut with this now. They just can't see a way out of this high pressure that's been dominating since May. They're perhaps just going a bit over the top with it now, but as I say, September is a month that very often does have lots of high pressure influences. If that's right, it's a very nice chart actually, because of course by September we're losing a lot of energy from the sun, so temperatures will naturally be starting to cool down anyway, although you can get some really quite hot weather in September. But overall you would expect that to be very warm, but not as extremely hot as you would get through the high part of the summer. So that's probably quite a nice anomaly for September, but we'll worry about that when we get to it. I don't think the CFS and maybe Beijing Climate Center have got August completely correct with this, so let's just wait and see where things are looking for September when we come to do the September forecast in around a month's time. So that's it. That's a complicated forecast for August. Overall, the very good summer does continue. This is still warmer than average. It's probably, for some of us anyway, still drier than average for August. But I think we just back off that very extreme dry weather and very extreme hot weather that we've had through through particularly July. Having said that, expect some very high temperatures in the coming days, and we'll be focusing on that in today's second video update, which will be coming up on the homepage, so come back for that then. But that's all for now, and thanks for watching.